Well, hello, and welcome to week 4 of IST 421 on the on World Campus. Again, this is you should probably know by now. This is my announcement video that I have, and I kind of like this. I'm finding that I'm really kind of enjoying the fact that I could at least get with you face to face and just have a chat with you. Because it gives me the ability, instead of some kind of personable writing that we have. Oh, somebody has joined us. So it's good to see you. Virginia, welcome. Um, and Virginia, just you can listen to my talk. It's only going to take probably maybe about at the most 10 minutes. And then after I'm done with my talk, you can answer any questions or anything you want to talk about. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so one of the things that particularly that I want to talk about, and this is kind of a short, but I think it's a serious type of situation that I want to talk about. And it's not for majority of the class, probably maybe 90 to 95% of the class. Okay. And one of the things that I've said as part of my on my syllabus review that I did a few weeks ago is that I put a lot of emphasis on your project. And I'm going to give you a lot of flexibility in terms of your project because, and I do that all the time. Okay, I want you to be creative. I want you to be able to explore a lot of capabilities. I'm not going to put any restrictions on you. Okay, but there's one major restriction. Okay, that's the fact that you don't cooperate with your teams. Okay, there are some folks, and keep in mind this happens every time I do a World Campus class, because in the World Campus class, what I do, and like it or not, this is just my style, okay, is that I don't like you to pick your own teams, okay? I do it randomly. And the fact is, I do that because that's what you're going to see in the real world. You're not going to be able, you may have that situation where you can pick your teams. But you know what? I was in this business for 38 years. And a lot of times I was told to work with some folks that I really, didn't find that were as much cooperative as the other folks I worked with. Because you're going to move around. You're going to move around and you're going to have to work with various diverse groups. And so that's why I kind of throw a monkey wrench into, maybe if you had another professor that allowed you to have a self sign up, that particularly I don't do that. Okay, I want you to be able to work with diverse groups. I want you to deal with folks that maybe may not be as cooperative as you have, and that's real important, because it's kind of a what we call, there's this thing called, and I mentioned this before, okay, is this National Academy of Colleges and Employers. And they come up with these things called NACE competencies. And one of the NACE competencies is the ability to work in groups. And that's working in groups that sometimes you're dealing with people that you're not really happy working with those groups. Okay. But what's real important, and what happened is that I particularly did this today, is that I went in and I basically gave my starfish report. Okay. And I did that specifically. What I did in my starfish report is I first of all looked at this first assignment that you see up here, which is your project proposal. Okay. And particularly, I just scrolled down to see who the participants were. And if you were not listed as a participant in that proposal, okay, you're kind of in trouble with this class. And that's kind of the stark reality, okay? Because if you don't cooperate, you don't start to reach out to your groups and cooperate with your groups, okay? You are in the situation of not earning a C or better in this class. And that's going to be the stark reality. I don't care how much you're, the other, if you think you're going to just hand in assignments and not work with a group, you're not going to get above a C in this group. Okay. Because to me, and I've said this before, okay, group projects are very, very important to me. Okay. Papers, tests, quizzes, okay, that's regurgitation. Okay. You can, you can just go in and just regurgitate what you did on the readings. And the only reason I have the quizzes and maybe a little bit of paper where you have to answer some questions is the fact that I want to make sure you read these two texts, because I think these two texts are important. Okay, the Sharif book and the Rube Goldstein Bernstein Rube books are very, very good books, and it's they're older books, but they're classics in terms of how to be able to write and react to a proposal, and use the concept of of actually being an enterprise architect instead of just being a solutions architect or an application architect. Okay, so it's real important, but it's real important that you get with the group. And looking at some of the pros, I'm going to read the proposals this weekend. Give me a chance to do it over a nice Chardonnay and maybe a cigar, and basically go in and read your proposals. But I kind of did a quick little glance at them, and fairly pleased with the proposals that you have. And I'll talk a little bit more, because you're going to have a mandatory meeting with me, and you're going to have a mandatory meeting with me as a group. And that's when I'll kind of, look specifically at your projects and give you my kind of recommendations. So that's really what I have announcements for today. Okay, is the fact that, continue to work with your group, be a good group participant, and do that. Because at the end, your grade based off of your group is not going to be a group grade, it's an individual grade. And I give individual grades for group work. And towards the end, when you basically do, the final projects that you have, okay, I'm going to be looking at a peer evaluation. And I'm hoping that, that the peer evaluation does give good constructive criticism. But if you're not participating, I'm going to find that out through the peer evaluation. So that's basically my pitch. I'm going to stop my share, but I'm going to keep the video running in case there are any questions from the team. And I want to include those questions within the video. Okay. So, Virginia, you were the first one to come on. Virginia, welcome.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah. Hi. I'm
Hi.
glad you came on. It's good. Seeing your group looks good. You guys got a good you got a good team. You gotta take care of my buddy Mahesh. He's one of our greater Allegheny students. Okay. He's been with our group. So well, welcome.
Thank
I
you.
liked your proposal. I've seen your proposal. And it
Yes.
seems like you guys work together before. So
Yes.
that's a
Yes,
good.
we did. We have a good group.
Where are you from, Virginia?
So I'm originally from Portugal,
Oh,
but
you
I've been
are?
living, yes.
Cool.
Uh,
I always wanted to
yes,
go down to that area of the world,
you
but never
should.
had a chance through all my travels,
It's
So
beautiful.
anyway, so
Um,
welcome to our class. And
Thank you.
got any questions for me?
I do. But just to finish what I was saying, but I've been living here in the US for the past almost 9 years, and I'm in Texas,
Oh,
just
you're
so
in
you know.
Texas. Whereabouts in
Yes,
Texas?
Austin.
Austin. Okay, yeah, been down there. Been down there. I had a
Yep.
lot of chance. There was been. I used to go to IBM. Um,
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I
They, it's
yeah,
close.
IBM was big up in Dallas when we were there. They had a lot of big sites there, but I used to do a lot of traveling for that. So
Cool.
anyway, okay. So next
Um,
question.
so my question, I have a few questions. It's regarding the next deliverable that we
Okay.
have,
All right.
the project requirements. So because we have some questions on whether we will actually require to do some coding, so developing an app or something that would integrate with an app. I think that's the biggest question we have.
Okay. I'm big on prototypes. Okay. I'm not very big on coding. Coding is, to me, coding's old stuff. It's
Okay.
basically a lot of it's going to be part of, um, the things that you have with, artificial intelligence and, pre-written code and, frameworks and APIs and stuff like that. Okay. Um, I like prototyping. I like prototyping tools. Okay. UML is your low end prototyping. Okay.
I see. Okay.
Um,
So
the
it's more conceptual
yeah,
than
yeah,
an
yeah. I
actual
want,
working product.
yeah, you're an
I see.
architect. This is architecture, okay? And
Okay.
architects build those small little models that people want to see, and it's not actually the actual hammers and nails and things you have to put in, okay?
Right.
And yeah, that's I don't look at this as a coding class. You've already had your coding classes, okay?
Yes.
You had even because I teach IST 256, okay? And you don't spend a lot of time for coding in that. Okay. You know what? You get enough of that in 140 and 242. Okay. So I kind of like prototyping because then, you're spending more time getting into the deep of the strategy that people have and how the stuff can map to it. I'd like you to break down through in the entire RFP process that you break down the requirements and you understand those requirements and then model those requirements to show that capability. Okay. Because and I always tell my folks this, even because when I worked for AT&T, I actually had a chance to talk to somebody that basically was in the same room when Steve Jobs pitched the iPhone. Okay. He
Yeah.
pulled it out
I
of his,
work at Apple,
yeah,
by the way, now that you mention.
yeah, and he pulled it out of his pocket, and it was a
Funny.
prototype. Okay, it was a
Yeah.
prototype that he had. I mean, it
Yeah.
only partially worked and stuff like that. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can use, I mean, a lot of these computer-aided software engineering tools, like these case tools that you can have. Okay, Adobe does things very nicely, and you can build kind of really nice prototypes. But the prototypes should map to the requirements. Okay. So no, I don't, I'm not really particularly looking for serious codes and you developing applications.
Okay.
Don't get on that road.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Yeah, that clarifies because we saw we need to fill in like hardware requirements and
Yeah.
software and all of that. So we were
Yeah.
wondering if we actually need to, present a working
No, no, no,
um,
no, no.
thing.
Now, if you want to give some examples of like API hooks and stuff like that, or connections, because just keep in mind is, you know, one of the things you should have learned is a thing called model view controller. Okay. And model view controller is the view is basically the user interface. That's your UI UX things. Okay. The model is basically your database. Okay. Your database or your web server, your file server, all the things you need to be able to get access. Okay. And the controller is that interface piece. Okay. And it's kind of like piecing this all together. Okay. And that's kind of like the flow that I really want to see. Okay. Is that you have that. Okay. All right. Does that
Yes,
answer your
yes,
question?
yes, yes, it does.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So hit me with another one or do you have any more?
Just one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we saw one of the templates had the whole thing from the project proposal and then the requirements, everything. Do you want us to deliver the next document like?
Yeah, I want you,
this-
it's, the document should just be kind of
A
an open
continuation?
draft, and then you're just gonna fill in the blanks, okay?
Okay,
So you can submit the entire proposal without,
again,
I'm only gonna look at the specific things that I'm looking at for each part,
right,
okay? And,
yes.
and keep in mind, I'm looking for progression and growth. So particularly if you miss some things, I don't care, okay? It's, it's, the fact is that it should be your template towards the final document that you have. And of course, the presentation that you put together, because you'll use that as a document, as that capability. Because I've worked on many RFPs, and you know what? It's all over the place, okay?
Yeah.
You pull it from one thing, and basically you just go in and you say, okay, we're gonna get to that next thing, we're gonna get to that next thing, okay? Because you're
Exactly.
really, you're in a respect, you're building what they call an unsolicited RFP, okay?
Yes,
Because obviously either the sponsor or whoever you're working with, okay, really didn't solicit you, okay, didn't send out an RFP like government groups do, okay? So you're doing an unsolicited RFP, but it still goes through the basics concepts of what's called that system development life cycle, where you look at the requirements, you start to ask questions, and then you start to, after you ask questions, you kind of separate between the functional requirements and the non-functional requirements that you need, that map to whatever, because you're now going to business policy, and those policies go down to to processes, and those processes you've got to map those processes to fulfill those functional requirements, okay?
right.
And then when you start to look at procedures, okay, which are kind of the 3 Ps of that, being able to build enterprise type technology. But you start looking at procedures, okay, some of those procedures can vary, okay? It can be automated, it could be manual, okay? And specifically, if it's going to be automated, then it has to map to be able to fulfill the process. But then, it's like, okay, whatever you decide, okay, you start to get into the non-functional requirements, like availability and reliability and security, because people right now, security is still kind of a non-functional requirement, okay? But it's still something that is needed within those specific procedures you're looking at, okay?
Yeah.
But that's a long-winded answer of saying is that, I'm not going to start to do a checklist and say you have to have these all developed, okay? I just want to see a progression, and that's the most important, okay? All right. So and keep in mind, if you don't get it in on that specific time, it's the end result, okay, that I'm looking at. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So I like what your team's done. Actually, and I'm still recording this. I like what every team's doing. Okay. I don't want to just single out your group. Okay? But you showed up, so I'm giving you kudos and respect. Okay. Is that you showed up on the call. Okay. So
Yes,
anyway.
yes. Thank you
right.
so much.
Yeah. And if you don't
because
mind,
we were
I'm gonna the conversations we have here, I'm gonna put on recording. Okay.
yeah, it can be useful for
Yeah.
other teams that might
Exactly.
have the same
Yep.
question.
Yep.
Because in our case, since we don't have a real sponsor, we are coming up with a, you know, a product and a solution that we think is something that could be useful. We were wondering how we are going to fill in, you know, those requirements of the software and the hardware. And since we don't have to actually, you know, do some coding, and we
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
a real product that we can already, you know, pick up, okay, they have this app and we are going to integrate with something. So I guess in our case, we will basically fill in what we would like to see on that app that we are
Right.
developing, right?
Right. Exactly. And keep in mind, okay, you know, if you don't have a sponsor, you know what, you're doing fictional writing, but fictional writing in a technical perspective, okay?
Yes.
And
Yeah, it has to make sense.
and it shows creativity. It shows that you understand, like, say, if you pick an industry or something, anybody that picks an industry and stuff like that, it shows to me that you understand that industry, okay?
Yes.
Because see, that's what an unsolicited RFP does, okay? I mean, there's been, you know, historical great unsolicited RFPs where people go, oh my gosh, this is something that we need, okay? We didn't really know we needed this, but they came in and did that, you know, so, okay. Doug Engelbart, you want to look that name up, okay? Doug Engelbart wrote a very unsolicited RFP to JCR Licklider when JCR Licklider was part of the Advanced Research Project Agency. And Engelbart came in with, wow, you know, this is a lot of stuff that we now look at graphics user interface. So, you know, that's the creativity thing that I want to see. So yeah, I like that. Okay. So,
Okay.
all right.
Got it. Thank you so much for your help.
And I look forward to meeting your team on our because we're going to have a mandatory meeting and we'll get everybody together and then everybody can answer all these questions. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a good
well,
one.
I'm gonna stop the recording. Thanks for joining. Okay. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and we'll hopefully maybe I'll see you next time. Okay.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
if I can, I'll join.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.